Hey guys! So today we're going to be making kimchi. Kimchi is basically like a Korean sauerkraut. Now the Koreans have like a really lengthy and complicated process in making kimchi. This is the easy version of kimchi. So what you're going to need is 2 small Napa cabbages, or you can use a really big one, but I like to use 2 like of the smaller size. You'll need a bunch of green onions. You'll need a daikon radish, or it's also called lobak. They have it at like a regular grocery store, or if you have like an Asian grocery store, you can get it there. You'll need some ginger, which you're going to grate. You'll need a bunch of carrots, about that much. And you'll need some garlic. I'll probably use about 2 or 3 cloves in this batch. And then you can use either cayenne pepper or some crushed chili flakes, but I like to use the cayenne. And you're going to need to make whey, which is basically the separated water bacteria mixture that you get when you strain yogurt. So what I did was I just have some skim yogurt, and what you do is you get a cheesecloth and a jar, and you make a little device to strain the whey out. So what you do is you just like scoop, I put about half of this container in. So you scoop in about half the container, and then it drains through the cheesecloth. I don't know if you can see. That's quite a bit of whey there. You need about 4 tablespoons for this recipe, and that will definitely be enough for it. Yeah. You'll need a bit of salt, and I think that's it. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to prep all the ingredients, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all prepped. Okay, so you just want to wash the carrots before you begin, because a lot of times they have like little dirt and stuff on it. Some people peel their carrots, but I don't peel them because, I don't know, too lazy. So now I'm grating the carrots. I'm using one of these things. I don't know what they're called, but they're quite dangerous actually. But if you don't have one of these, you can just use a regular grater. It will work just fine. It's just a bit of a different texture to use one of these things. I like it better because whenever I use one of these things, I always end up grating part of my finger, which is not nice. Okay, so now I'm dealing with the cabbage, and what I like to do is just peel the outer layers of the cabbage off, because then you don't have to wash it. Alright, so you see this part here, this is the core of the cabbage, so we're going to cut that part out because we don't want that in our kimchi. Okay, so now I'm going to grate the ginger. I just grabbed a piece of ginger about this big and I peeled it with a knife, and so now I'm going to grate it. Just use a little grater. A trick that my mom taught me is to freeze your ginger first, but I didn't have time today. But if you freeze the ginger, it makes it a lot easier to grate. Alright, so I've grated the ginger basically, that's all that's left of it. So now I'll just like take this part and smush it in there. I want to get all the juices from the ginger because I love ginger. Okay, so now you're just gonna, yeah, you can just slap it all in there. Mix it around a little bit. So next I'm going to deal with the garlic. So I peeled my garlic. I'm going to use I'm going to use 4 cloves of garlic. I think it's going to be pretty garlicky, so if you don't want it, that garlicky. Maybe just use 1 or 2, but I like garlic, so I'm gonna like really load up on the garlic. So I'm just gonna press the garlic into here. I've washed my green onions and now I'm going to chop them up as well. Chop the white part off, little ends. And then just cut them as coarsely or as finely as you want. I kind of like them just like this. Just add it to your mixture. So the lovely daikon radish, just gonna cut off the end. And we're gonna grate this one too. Oh, there's some little hairs on it, so we'll just cut those off maybe. Just a regular grater if you don't have one of these. Just makes things this shape. So all the vegetables are all prepped now. You've got this mixture here, which we're gonna mash up in a little bit. But first we need to add the whey, which is basically bacteria water. So it's the bacteria in the whey that that make the kimchi or make the cabbage ferment. Well, the cabbage actually has lactobacillus already on it, but just adding the whey is like a guaranteed way of fermenting it. So we're gonna add the bacteria water. You can save this because now you've made Greek yogurt. And I'm just gonna pour it all over. Not only is kimchi delicious and low calorie and super healthy, it's also a probiotic food, so it's really good for your digestive system. Lots of good bacteria. Alright, so the whey's on there. Now, I'm gonna put on some cayenne. I think probably half a teaspoon. We're just gonna kind of wing it though. Let's see what happens. Good. You can always add more if you want it spicier. So this is the fun part. You have to now pound the vegetables to release the juices, the water basically. So the instructions that I read and the recipe that I read, they say to use like a meat pounder, but I don't have a meat pounder, so I'm just going to use this empty jar. It works, so it takes a while. But pretty quick you can see that the water's starting to release from the vegetables, but you just need to like mix it around and make sure you get all of it. Okay, so now that you've pounded the heck out of your cabbage mixture, it's ready to be spooned into your jars. So this will make about 2 jars like this. So what you're going to do is make sure your jar is nice and clean and just begin scooping the mixture in. And you want to make sure you compress it down. So just put some in and then start smushing it down, because you want, well, it's hard to do when it's this low, but you want the liquid from the vegetables, once you press it down, to be at the same level as the top of the vegetables. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so now I'm just going to start smushing it down. Now when you smush it down, you can start to see the juices start to come up. And that's what you want to see. Okay, so I'm just finishing up filling the jars with the kimchi. This is just the leftover jar, obviously. So this is what it's going to look like when you really want to squish it down. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this in the video, but you're gonna want to keep pressing it down until you can see the liquid kind of coming up, like right there. Can you see the liquid? Okay, so you just want the liquid to be at the same level as the top of the cabbage. Now, the first time I made this, I filled it up all the way till about there because the instructions that I read on the internet said to leave just an inch, right? But I filled it up too much and it exploded in my kitchen because of all the bacteria. They like fermented and had a party and it just exploded in my kitchen. So you want to give it some room because it's like you think, oh, it's not full, but it's gonna expand, and it's probably, well, we'll see what happens this time, but it'll probably expand to the top because last time I filled it to here and then it exploded. So this time I'm going to leave it here and then we'll probably expand to the top. So it's done now. So now you just want to put the lid on. And so you're going to leave this at room temperature. Just leave it sitting out for 2 to 3 days. Mine was done after 2 days, but, well, it exploded after 2 days. But now that I've, left a bit more room, I'm going to leave it out for 3 days, unless it explodes again. But 3 days is what the recipe recommends. 3 days, then it's done fermenting, and then you're going to put it in the fridge. And just a warning, when you open it, it's going to be really fizzy and it might be like, I don't know, it might kind of overflow when you open it because of all the bacteria and the fermentation. So just open it over the sink. That'll be safer. So yeah, check back 2 to 3 days. We're going to open the kimchi. Okay, so we're back. It's 3 days later and the bacteria have had their time to do their magic. So I already opened the other jar and it actually didn't fizz or explode or anything like I was expecting. Like I said, the first time I made this, when I opened the jar, it just like stuff went everywhere. I think maybe because the first time I made it I used different jars and maybe they sealed better, and also I was paranoid about not having enough whey, so I took a probiotic capsule like for my supplements and dumped it in with the cabbage and everything because I just wanted extra bacteria. I really wanted it to ferment properly and it did. So anyways, let's see if this one does anything. Oh, it did a little bit. Hear that? It was like a can of pop opening. And it's done. So there you have your kimchi. Oh, it's bubbling. Well, this one turned out better. Yeah, it's fizzing. So now you can eat it. You can add it to rice, salad, soup, whatever. It's good with meat. Yeah, enjoy.